Welcome back, dear viewers. And now we are joined over the phone by Ambassador Ayman Mosharafa, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good afternoon, Mr. Ambassador.
Good afternoon.
So, sir, the Israeli Security Cabinet was due to meet on Tuesday to vote on a proposed ceasefire in the war with Hezbollah in Lebanon. So, what's your take on this?
Well, every source is saying that the deal is closed and there is no point of differences, as there is no obstacle. But at the end of the day, many times the Israeli had a plan and they approved the plan, and after that, when it was submitted to the government, Netanyahu is not approving, and the religious far right is blocking the deal. So let's wait and see, keep our finger crossed.
So also, sir, the White House voiced optimism that a deal was closed. So do you really expect this?
The White House has expressed many times optimism about a closed deal in Gaza and a closed deal in Lebanon. And at the end of the day, as I said before, it was blocked by the far right in the Israeli coalition government. Everybody knows that the president and the American administration is in a state of lame duck. They could not really influence the decision of Israel. And several times Netanyahu said that he is imposing and enforcing his point of view and acting along with the religious far-right coalition. So if even the White House have voiced optimism, it's not 100% guaranteed that the deal will pass.
So, Mr. Ambassador, how do you see the situation in Gaza, and do you expect also a ceasefire agreement soon?
I think the Israelis are trying to separate between the track of Lebanon and the track of Gaza. The track of Lebanon is easier because the track of Lebanon is just to support the war in Gaza. But in Gaza it's more complicated, and still we do not know the plans of the Israeli government towards Gaza.
So, sir, now the G7 meeting is taking place in Italy with the attendance of Foreign Minister Badr Abdel-Ati. Do you expect the issue or the topic of the Middle East to top his agenda?
Of course, the situation in Lebanon, in Gaza and Sudan, it's a big concern of the international community and the G7, and Egypt has been invited to this forum as a key player in the region. And of course, the Foreign Minister, Dr. Abdel-Ati, voiced the traditional Egyptian concern about the ongoing war in Lebanon and the need to implement 1701 resolution, and the need that the Israeli troops would leave Lebanon as soon as possible and return to the international recognized border. And in the same time, he voiced his concern about the continuing hostility in Gaza and the plight of the humanitarian situation in Gaza, which have been described by many human institution and international institution as a catastrophic.
So, sir, what other topics expected to top the agenda of the talks in the G7 and the significance of Egypt's participation in this important summit?
Of course, there are many topics which threaten the peace and security in the Mediterranean basin. You have the Libyan file, you have the situation in Sudan, which is very dire, and more than half of the Sudanese population is suffering from malnutrition, from hunger, from lack of basic medicine treatment. And Egypt has several times insisted that the need to support the institution in Sudan, the legal government, and the need to have an immediate end of the hostility. Since Sudan, Egypt is the bigger recipient of Sudanese refugees. We have around 4 million Sudanese refugees in Egypt. So this ending the hostility and the war in Sudan is a matter of national security of Egypt, and we have 1,000 kilometers of borders together with Sudan.
So, sir, what are the resolutions expected to be adopted by the G7?
Well, I mean, the traditional resolution calling for ending of hostility, ceasefire, open humanitarian channel in Gaza and in Lebanon, and maybe convening a conference for rebuilding Lebanon and Gaza. The traditional clauses,
yes,
and the traditional resolution. Anyway, we are hoping for the best. Let's be optimistic and wait for the final communique of the G7.
Yes. I'd like to thank you, Ambassador Ayman Mosharafa, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Thank you, sir, for being with us. And back to our reports, and we move to Britain. And Britain's roads and railways were hit by closures after Storm Bert battered the country over the weekend, causing widespread flooding and killing 4 people. Details follow.
Britain's roads and railways were hit by closures after Storm Bert battered the country over the weekend, causing widespread flooding and killing 4 people. There were more 300 flood warnings and flood alerts in place across England and Wales.